I like got in line, got him custard, and he was getting dispatched out to call as I'm like exiting the building. I see him get in his car. I'm like, no, I'm like running, like shove ice through his car window. I was like, you can't go to the call.
Did you talk to him afterwards?
I haven't. Gotta find out how he liked it. If he even got a chance to eat it, because he was on his way to a call. But like he was getting dispatched out, and I was like, no, you're taking this. I'm not eating it because I don't want to shower.
That'd be a nice one.
So they'll have to.
Okay, so
Our community is bridging so many different things.
yes.
So it's a little bit of both. That design element adheres.
Well, I gotta have something.
But yes, that's
I gotta
fine.
have something factual, otherwise I'm gonna lose this bet.
Well, I mean, yours is.
I
Yeah.
can imagine.
I was reading all about it as I was interviewing for this place, and I was like, oh, okay. Logos are always controversial. But the bridging community is definitely the theme that sticks out in the logo. And you are definitely right. But the design elements match for Sad Park. But your theme is why it was conceived as your answer. You're correct. I wasn't too correct.
I wasn't that.
Creating connections, creating community.
They
Bridging
were still
all our-
transitioning from old department letterhead to this when I got here.
Yeah.
Which one's on the west side?
So it could have been that long.
No, it was months before I got here, and I got here a few months
That
before
one,
you did.
State Street?
It was happening while I was the local debacle was happening while I was in the process of getting a job. So I had already applied and
So was the old one like really old and it just needed to be changed or what?
yeah. It was really bad. And then we had actually we were in like a local house, but we had a couple variations of logos that never got used. It's a combination right there. Top side and then the part.
In my 32 years here,
Yeah.
we had been through at least 5 different opportunities to change the logo.
We still have plenty in some places it's expensive to update, but I like seeing the things that moving forward. It was very intentional. I know.
1 minute.
Wow. Thank you.
So what's the entry? You have 1 minute?
That's what I know it is. That's what I mean.
It is now 7 o'clock, and I will call the meeting to order. Can I please get a roll call?
Roll call shows all counselors are present.
Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. And after the pledge tonight, we will have a moment of silence for the victims and families of El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio tragedies. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Good evening. Under special orders of the day announcements, we have a proclamation declaring August 6, 2019 as National Night Out.
Vice President Anderson.
Can I have Captain Sigler and Interim Chief Peace join me? The proclamation reads, whereas the National Association of Town Watch, or NATW, is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime prevention and community safety program on August 6, 2019 entitled National Night Out. And whereas the 36th Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for the city of Beloit to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting community policing and crime prevention efforts. And whereas the Beloit Police Department, Beloit Area Crime Stoppers, and the Beloit Fire Department play a vital role in collaborating with our community to reduce crime, fear, and disorder in Beloit, Wisconsin, and are supporting National Night Out locally. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of Beloit be aware of the importance of crime prevention and community policing programs and the impact their participation can have on creating and sustaining safe neighborhoods in Beloit. And whereas community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. And whereas the city of Beloit has a long-standing tradition of gathering within our many diverse neighborhoods to celebrate and further law enforcement and community partnerships. Now, therefore, the City Council President of the City of Beloit does hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 6, 2019, as National Night Out in Beloit, and encourages residents to acknowledge the event with their neighborhoods by hosting block parties, cookouts, youth programs, and other such activities that strengthen and promote neighborhood spirit and community partnerships. Presented this 5th day of August, 2019. You have anything to say? Sure. Okay.
Captain Stigler.
Captain Stigler, thank you very much for your support of this event. I was amazed last year, my first year here in Beloit, the amount of community support, the block parties, the cookouts, for the fire department and the police department. I just want to say thank you. It's a big night for us. It's a big night for the community. It's really a good thing, so thank you for your support.
Thank you.
And I'll touch on that. Please be
And this
patient
is
with us.
Interim Chief Peace.
Interim Chief Pease, yes. Please be patient with us. We are trying to make it with all these events with on-duty crews, so they will be responding to emergencies in between. So, but we look forward to engaging with the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and I know us counselors, we can't wait to get to all these different block parties tomorrow night, so thank you. Next, we have the public hearing.
There are no public hearings.
Now we have the public comments. We've reached the point in the agenda for residents to speak to the council about issues that are coming before us or may come before us in the future. Council members may not act on any request at this meeting, but may refer a speaker to staff for assistance. We ask that you hold your comments to 3 minutes or less and refrain from personal attacks of any kind. Public comment is a privilege, and we expect everyone to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Speakers are asked to complete a public comment form and turn in prior to the meeting. Each individual will be invited to the podium and asked to state your name and address for the record. Do we have any speakers at this time? Are there any members of the public wishing to speak to address the council this evening? If there are no public comments, we will go on to item 6, consent agenda.
The consent agenda All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda.
Would any counselor like anything removed from the consent agenda? The consent agenda consists of items 6A through 6D. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
There's a first by Counselor Blakely, a second by Counselor Jacobson. Any discussion at this time?
Just a quick comment.
Go ahead, Counselor Levy.
But I would just like to thank city staff. I did have a couple questions on this issue on consent agenda, and I want to thank you for getting back to me in a timely manner and making sure that we get all the information that I needed to be able to vote my conscience on this. So, thank you.
And I would just like to echo that, Counselor Levy. Okay, so we have a first by Counselor Blakely. We have a second by Counselor Jacobson. Oh, we'll back up. Counselor Forbeck, you had something to add for discussion.
I just wanted to say that on this consent agenda is, I think, something that's going to be wonderful for our kids. At two of our parks, Vernon Park on the west side and Summit on the east side, the city is putting in, what do you call it? A
Splash pad.
Which sounds fabulous to me, and on those hot days this year, next year, our kids can be over there with it. So I just think it's really thoughtful of our staff to, I wish maybe I'd been clever enough to suggest it to you, but nobody needed you to. So thank you, and I think it's going to be wonderful.
Thank you, Counselor Forbeck.
Quick
Any other
question.
counselors have a comment?
Yes, Madam President.
Go ahead, Counselor
Is there
Blakely.
an upper age limit for these splash pads? Just asking.
There's not.
All right, I'll see you there next summer.
Thank you. Any other counselors have any comments? Okay, so we have a first and a second, and we just had discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that said, motion carries. We will move on to item 7A, please.
7A is a consideration of a resolution 2019-104 approving applicants for the alcohol beverage operators bartender's license for the years 2019 through 2021. You have before you this evening 27 applications being recommended for approval.
Is there a motion to approve item 7A? Okay. There's a first by Counselor Prushel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Vice President Anderson. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, 8 ordinances.
8A is a consideration of ordinance number 3657 to amend section 8.500 of the zoning ordinance, chapter 19 of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit pertaining to the number of buildings on zoning lots.
This is a second reading. Our Community Development Director, Christensen, is available to answer any questions that anyone may have at this time. Any questions from any counselors? Go ahead, Counselor Prushel.
We went over this before, but it's nice to see this language get cleaned up. Certainly makes things more clear.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other counselors have any questions or comments at this time? Can I have a motion to approve? Okay. It's a first by Counselor Prushel, second by Counselor Forbeck. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that said, motion carries. Item 9.
There are no appointments tonight.
Item 10.
Counselor activities and upcoming events.
Okay, we will start with Counselor Prushel, please.
Well, my apologies in advance that I will not make it, I most likely will not make it back to town in time for the National Night Out events tomorrow. I'll be working over in Monroe until around 5 or so unlikely I'll get back here in time to do any of that. And next week already, it seems like it's too early to have the third Thursday of the month, but next week is the third Thursday of the month already, and I've got What the Tech at Grinnell Senior Center, and we've had 10 people there, 10 to 15 people a month show up for their technology questions, and we try as best we can to answer them for them. It's pretty popular, so we'll be over there next Thursday. And then the following week, I will have a Cameras at the Confluence session about action photography at the Nature at the Confluence. That'll be on Tuesday the 27th. I guess that's 2 weeks from now. Wow. Anyway, should have some couple interesting photographers show up for that, so thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Presho. Councilor Jacobson.
I just wanted to commend Shauna, Elamine, and Crystal Cribs for all of their work for the street dance. I know I volunteered with them on Friday at Fridays in the Park, and then later at the street dance, and it was a long day that they both work all day, and I thought it was nice we had good weather. That, of course, translates to more money that they're raising for the DBA, which they're very excited about. And I knew it was a lot of work, but until I was actually, on my feet as well with them, I didn't really probably appreciate it. So they're very hard workers, and I just want to thank them for everything they do.
Thank you, Councilor Jacobson. Councilor Blakely.
Last week I had the pleasure of going to Wednesdays at the library. And every Wednesday this summer, there will be another Wednesday at the library. Outside in that beautiful little park right next to the building, the Hendricks Garden, and in the parking lot nearby is a food truck from 11 to 1 o'clock. Great place to get lunch. And from 12 to 1, there's live music every week. So I recommend that to everybody. Coming up this Thursday, August 8th at 6 p.m. is the NAACP meeting, to which anybody is welcome to attend. It takes place at 2639 Sunshine Lane, starting at 6 p.m. And there's going to be a presentation about Census 2020, so it should be a pretty fascinating evening. Also, there will be a reception following the general meeting for 3 former school district employees, Dr. Williams, Tasha Bell, and Tracy Carradine. That'll happen immediately after the general meeting. So please join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Blakely. Councilor Levy.
I would like to thank all the counselors for bringing backpacks tonight for Community Baptist Church. I'll be delivering those when I leave here. This is a time of year that a lot of kids get ready to go back to school, so the help that we provide is greatly appreciated. And then also thanks to Julie, who made brownies, and everyone here, you have to have one before you leave, because I'm not taking them all home with me. She made brownies for somebody's birthday up here, so we want to thank her for that. So everyone, please have a brownie before you go.
39-year-old down here.
21.
Thank you, Councilor Levy. Councilor Forbeck.
Yes, I'm looking forward. This is my first time to have my own night out tomorrow night. It's the first time I've lived in the city of Beloit in a place where we have a national night out anyway. So I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's really cool and nice, and everybody is together. I remember years ago when I was at the chamber, there was a young woman who worked for me, and she just did a phenomenal job of bringing together the neighborhood that hadn't been really a neighborhood before until she started to host the National Night Out. So I know it can really be effective. And the next thing is I just want to put a little kudos out to our library. I see Nick over there. My husband and I are CASA volunteers, and we have been regularly taking our 2 kids to the library. And I have to say, these are 2 kids who don't read much, and they love that library, and I can see the difference in them. And all those kids who are in the children's library are so helpful. There weren't even any adults around, and they were so good with our little CASA kids. It's a very giving, communal place, and it doesn't
I don't think that automatically happens at a library. There have been forces at work to have that happen, so thanks.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Forbeck. Councilor Vice President Anderson.
Thank you. I'm excited to go to National Night Out tomorrow. That's going to be great. Last couple years I've been there, and not only is the kickoff amazing, but the block parties. It further reminds me how great the city is. Everybody kind of comes together. It really just feels kind of like a weekend barbecue on a Tuesday night, so that's nice, especially for those of us that work the next day. Just wanted to share some of the stuff I did. Some of you knew I was kind of gone on a few trips, but the one I wanted to share about was the one in Miami. There was a bunch of young elected officials down in Miami, so it was a fun time. But we talked about a lot of the issues that are going on. Talking about the census, we talked about housing, and we talked about the usual stuff like potholes, as we always hear about. Those are the big complaints. But one thing that came up, obviously, with the events that transpired this weekend with the mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton is one of the elected officials that was there with us as an elected official in El Paso. So that was pretty tough for us to deal with. You know, he's that was that Saturday night. We're all going out, and he's staying back, checking to see if everybody's okay. So as everybody in this room, you know, deals with local government, I think we can all put ourselves in that shoes of how to handle that situation. So I commend the staff at El Paso and in Dayton for handling that, and I think once again we can all say that our condolences go out to everybody who lost their lives or was affected by the events that took place this weekend. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Vice President Anderson. My turn up. First, I want to invite the public to Beloit Health System's 50th anniversary celebration and baby homecoming, which will be held at Beloit Memorial Hospital on Saturday, August 17th from 12 noon to 4 o'clock. I know you've probably seen a lot of these posters. They've been on the buses and all over the city. There'll be giveaways and prizes, food, live entertainment, a DJ, carnival rides, engaging patient experience tours, live painting, local performances, games, and activities for all ages. So be sure you're there. If you're not, you'll miss out on a whole lot of fun. Next, that said, I have attended lots of events this past month, and I know because people have been seeing my Facebook, and they've been stopping me everywhere. They said, "How are you doing all this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's hard keeping up with myself."
Don't you have a twin sister?
I do, but it's been me. That said, I've attended lots of events. I participated in the Community Conversations series regarding cannabis on July 18th, July 11th, 18th, and August 1st at the Rotary River Center. And also Mary and Cynthia, who were in the audience, were also there at the series. So special thanks to all the community members that came out, to Chief Zaboski, the Families Fighting Addiction, and Youth to You for all their efforts. It was nice to have people come out and participate. I also joined our staff and counselors on a City of Beloit Parks tour on July 17th. It was great to see all the new improvements in our parks, and the goats at Big Hill Park were amazing. We have lots to be proud of, so kudos to our Department of Public Works and everyone involved in making our city look so beautiful, and more importantly, for giving our children and families a fun place to relax and play. I also want to give a shout out to Family Services and Beloit Literacy for Life, because in each park there was a little library filled with books, so that when our children get tired from all that recreation, they can take a break and read. It's very important that we read to our kids at least 15 minutes a day. By doing that, we can help to enhance our children's literacy skills and put them on a path to success. In addition to that, I went to Fridays in the Park, Music at Harry's Place, and the Downtown Street Party. Heartfelt thanks to Shauna Elamine, Crystal Cribs, the Downtown Beloit Association, Visit Beloit, Friends of Riverfront, Rock County Recap, vendors, businesses, and all the city staff who helped with these events. If you missed them, you missed a real treat, and especially Fridays in the Park. Each Friday, which will go on each Friday until September 20th, you can listen to the entertainment and get lunch with a refreshing drink for only $7. This event takes place in the First National Bank and Trust Plaza from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. If you need more information, you can go to the Downtown Beloit Association website, which is www.downtownbeloit.com. And if you don't have access to internet, that doesn't have to stop you. All you have to do is call 608-365-0150. And then when I call that number, you can either press the one or two for either Shauna or Crystal. Also, our city council participated in a public workshop with the Alcohol Beverage License Control Committee, Tara Tender, Brittany Keys, and Ryan Tilley, along with our city manager and staff on July 22nd. Heartfelt thanks to our staff and each volunteer committee member for joining us and for caring about our community. Our volunteers on this committee are rolling up their sleeves and jumping right in. It would be nice to have even more people to volunteer and do the same. So if you have talents and skills that can benefit our city, I ask that you please consider serving on one of our city committees. And the vacancies are as follows. We have the Alcohol Beverage License Control Committee. There's one vacancy for the Tavern League representative. The Board of Appeals, there's 5 vacancies. The Board of Ethics, there's a vacancy. The Board of Review, there are 3 vacancies. The Community Development Authority Committee, there's 1 vacancy. And then the Equal Opportunities Commission, there's 1 vacancy. The Municipal Golf Committee, there's 1 vacancy for a Seniors Club representative and 1 vacancy for a youth representative. And then also the Park, Recreation, and Conservation Advisory Commission, there's 1 vacancy for a youth representative. And then also the Traffic Review Committee, there's 2 vacancies. So you can also go online and you can go to the City of Beloit website, or you can call the City of Beloit and talk with Pam Lathrop, who's our city manager's executive assistant, and that number is 608-364-6614. Also, I had a chance to go to the 1-year celebration at Derek's house for displaced youth. And I joined our police officers and firefighters at Culver's for the Touch a Truck event and fair. And there were also some horses there, and those horses were like 3 years old, but they were very big. Also, I read a book at the YWCA to young children as part of their Colorful Community project. So with all that said, thanks to Eric Williams, Culver's, they continue to be outstanding in our community and help us. Bill and Josh Locke, our city staff, Angela Moore, Vice President Anderson, the educators who are working throughout the summer, and all the wonderful individuals who are working to make our city even better. Thank you. Next, I want to recognize Laura Williamson, Jason Dupuis, and our Department of Public Works for their hard work on the construction projects. We all know firsthand that that is not an easy task. The good news is that the Prairie Avenue construction is on schedule. So hopefully no more rain. I just ask that members of our community please keep in mind that the road will be better when it is completed. In the meantime, please practice patience, be careful, and drive safely. And in closing, I want to say that we all have very, very heavy hearts by the recent violent acts that have taken place in California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Texas. And in listening to the many stories and the news, and the so many children and families that have been involved, we know that there is no place that is immune from these incidents. I ask that if you see something, please say something. Let's pray and work together to ensure that we have laws in place to prevent innocent. We must stop this senseless loss of life, and it starts right here at home. So I encourage members of the public to condemn bad behavior. Be brave, let your voice be heard, stand for good, and keep spreading love throughout our entire community. Next, we will have item 11.
City manager's presentation.
Madam President, just a quick question,
Yes.
if that's okay. You in your report, you had mentioned like the 1-year anniversary for Derek's house.
Yes.
Did we get invitations to that? Because I saw it on Facebook, and I would have wanted to attend to that, but I didn't know if we got communication for that or not.
I received a communication from Eric Williams.
Okay.
So,
okay.
and next time maybe I should have done. It was on my part. I
was just checking. So that, nothing major. So,
Yeah.
So, sorry.
So, and I will talk with Eric, and perhaps he can work with our staff and schedule a walkthrough with all of us, because I think that'd be great for us to hear. Yeah. Because I remember we went to the initial one, When he first opened it, we did. And so that's something we'll just have staff set arrange. Okay. Thank you, Counselor Levy. Next.
I would like to invite our library director, Nick Damasis, to come forward and share some exciting news for the council and the public.
Hello, President Duncan, councilors, City Manager Curtis Luther. I would say that it's not often that you get thanked for the work that you've done, but I've heard it over and over and over here and out in the community. But what may be a little more rare is hearing about congratulations on work and the reward for work that was started 3 or 4 years ago. And work that was done really behind the scenes. So in 2015, 3 of the adults, at least that you have hired and have had confidence in, the city manager, myself, and Eric Miller got together and said, how are we going to deal with this library's budget? In light of the overall city budget, all the things that, that the city was facing as well as the library. And so we set forth a plan on how we were over a few years, we're going to bring our budget into line, and with significant changes to the organization, and also, as Councilor Forbeck mentioned, as a direct result of this, is better customer service as well. And so just last month, we were in Milwaukee to accept this award, and really on your behalf, through funding and decisions that you made earlier on. Do I have that? There we go. I think now you can see it, right? That you made, 3-4 years ago to support the library through some capital investment so that we could make physical changes to the library, which then allowed us to make changes to our organizational structure, and only through attrition be able to change some of the positions, et cetera, et cetera. So this was really exciting to us because we can say, with our other library peers around the state, isn't it, this is what we're doing, oh, that's great. But really when you are rewarded by the Wisconsin Policy Forum, and I'll just quickly read what they are. They are a statewide nonpartisan independent policy research organization, offices in Milwaukee and Madison, and their mission is to provide informed analysis of critical policy issues affecting local governments, school districts, and the state of Wisconsin. So what you don't hear in there is specifically libraries, and so for us as a library, we are especially pleased, thrilled, proud of the fact that, let's say, an objective organization is looking at what the city and the library have done over these last few years. And one more thing, as a result of that, we have been visited by many libraries around the state. We've been presenting at conferences and elsewhere. We've been invited into other libraries to talk to the staff about what we've done. We've had Milwaukee Public Library, their leadership team, come down and visit. We've had Watertown's coming. Rockford came last week because they're building a new library and they want to incorporate some of those physical changes into their new library and not wait till after the fact. So what the conversations that were happening 3-4 years ago, and again with your support, have really paid off, and not only that, are being talked about across Wisconsin. And I want to particularly thank Sarah Millard. She is the one working with us to submit that nomination. Municipalities, school districts, obviously they put it together, they submit it, going against hundreds of others, and so we received honorable mention. So again, against hundreds of others, some 300-acre, multi-million-dollar water mitigation project won, but whatever. And then we were honorable mention, and that's the first time they've given one. And what is especially pleasing about that is it's really them saying, okay, here's a big project, this is what we usually look at, but something is happening over there, and that it needs attention. So we are very, very proud of that. I hope you are, because it all began with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I just want to say, Nick, I hope we're going to see that in the front of the library when we walk in, because that's something to be proud of. We need to show off our accomplishments. Yeah. Next. Thank you. Item 12, please.
Reports from boards and city officers.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Okay. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? With that said, motion carries, and we are now adjourned.